it's a business. Like, we have to be able to sell these fights in order to get paid. Like, if you want to get paid, do something like make your fight like exciting, or get on social media and make an effort, or like you have to. The people that we're mad at these fighters, certain fighters making money, but if you look at the ones that are making money, it's the personalities in the sport, right? So, or the fighters that are doing something different, so I don't know why anybody's getting frustrated just with me, because honestly, like, I'm just kind of getting what I can out of my years in this sport. And I feel like that would be the clever thing to do,
She competes for the $1 million and the Flyweight Championship November 29th in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. It is always my pleasure to speak to PFL superstar Dakota Ditcheva. Dakota, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. I'm really well.
Are you down in Florida?
I am still in Florida, yeah.
So now be honest, because you are Brit. You've been in Florida now for American Top Team. Do you kind of not like going home now because of the weather? I know when you get down to that Florida weather, it's kind of addictive.
It is, for sure. It's the one thing. To be honest, though, I don't know. Sometimes I miss the hot weather, but then at the same time, it's nice to get in the cold for a little bit. I'm very much like a hoodie and tracksuit bottoms kind of girl, so I do miss those clothes a little bit. So yeah, I get a good balance. I get the best of both worlds now.
Yeah, I feel like I would love England because I love hoodie weather. So like that's kind of my thing. I'm a hoodie fan. So obviously, Dakota, we've known this is coming for a while. Can I ask though, before we talk about Taila Santos, the championship, you just gone through your first full PFL season, basically fighting already 3 times in a very short period of time, about to do your 4th in about 7 months. So how has this season played out for you? Because everyone says, I want to do it, and then you go through it and it's a little harder than you expect. So how has this season treated you?
Yeah, honestly, I've really enjoyed it. I'm very much a fighter that kind of just lives in the gym. It's a lifestyle to me. It's not like fight camp after fight camp. It's just living in the gym, just getting better all the time. So I feel like that's the best way you're going to deal with it. I'm not really one of these fighters that likes to have a blowout after a fight. So I think that helps me a little bit as well, is that I'm not bothered about going out and getting drunk or like anything like that. So I just get straight back in the gym, and I'm just like, I love being in the gym. So for me, it's been a breeze.
Now, if everything goes well November 29th, will you allow yourself to have a little celebration then?
Yeah, definitely. I will have a little celebration. I'll have a few holidays, I think. I mean, I don't drink, like I said, so I'm not going to have a blowout, but I definitely will like go home, see family, have a nice Christmas, have my Christmas dinner, things like that.
Yeah. Now you mentioned obviously you're down to American Top Team. Have you gone home during the season at all? Because I know this is all kind of like rapid fire, back to back to back. Now you have a little bit of a break between the last one and this one. So like, have you just stayed in Florida this whole year? Have you been able to actually go home for a little while?
Yeah, no, I ended up going home for I went home after the 3rd fight, because obviously there was more of a break between the 3rd fight and the final. So I managed to go home for a week or 2. I went to Dubai as well, sometimes go there. So I did manage to have a little bit of a break. I was still training though. I have to keep my mind in check. If I don't train, I kind of go a little bit crazy. But I had a little bit of a break, went home, saw family, which was nice.
Yeah. So I know you've been an American Top Team for a while, and I don't think it's any giant secret why you'd work with that team. It's an incredible team. I see you post on Instagram, Mako Mondays. We all know Mako Mondays. Yeah. How much has that team added to your game? Because like I've been there, I know what that gym looks like. It's a massive gym, but I also know the level of training partners and coaches. It's kind of like the best of all worlds. How much have you enjoyed, becoming a big part of that team?
Yeah, I love it. I love Top Team so much. And I think especially since the first day I went there probably at a time where I was like, a little bit down in life and things like that. So I feel like they're very special to me anyway, because it was kind of where I found my happiest self. So I think that's probably why I love the gym so much. Just the people, the vibes, everything. Florida in general, the sunshine, just everything about this place and everything about ATT I just love. So it's just a shame that I can't bring my family over and have them here full time. And my mum's gym as well. I miss working at my mum's gym back home, getting the training in there is something that I miss a lot. But I love it at ATT. It's the best place in the world.
I know the sport has evolved a lot, and it's not nearly as much of a problem as it once was, but I do know a lot of women's fighters, at some of the smaller gyms, like they don't really have a lot of women to train with, like top level women to train with. A lot of men train with the guys. I was actually down there a few years ago, and I was watching Joanna Jędrzejczyk actually spar one of the flyweights down there, one of the guy flyweights, which is fun. But I do know you have a lot of great females down there. So like, has that also been a big benefit, like actually working with other top level females down there?
Yeah, 100%. It's been one of the main things, being able to work with female bodies has been massive for me, especially with the jiu-jitsu and the wrestling side, to have like a realistic, challenge and partner to work with. Because the guys obviously are physically stronger. They don't go 100% on you. I still spar the lads, but like wrestling and jiu-jitsu wise, like there's so many girls there that are just like, I mean, there's like 19, 20-year-old black belts, brown belts on the mat that I can work with. So it's, and I'm one of them people as well that I don't want to win all the time in the gym because I want to get better. I'm not looking for easy rounds. So to have them tough girls there to tap me out a few times, give me a tough round is like what I need and what makes me progress the most.
And I saw you took a photo the other day. Joanna Jędrzejczyk was down there as a European fighter. Like, is that somebody you've always kind of looked up to? Like, Joanna is one of my favorite people in the sport. She's a legend. But I imagine, being from Poland, you being from England, like, I don't know, like, you tell me, like, what have been your thoughts, or where have you kind of held Joanna in terms of like all time greats for you personally?
At the top for sure. I mean, there's no doubt about it. She's at the top. Her striking is like next level. And again, her and Shevchenko they come from the same background as me. That's why they've always been like top of the list for me. They come from Thai boxing, striking. Joanna's aggression is just like second to none. So she reminds me. I feel like I'm a lot like her. So yeah, she's the nicest person in the world. Like, honestly, she's like the sweetest person ever. You wouldn't think she's a fighter unless you knew that that's what she did. But yeah, she's just a great person as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's so funny. Like anytime she's ever fought, or even when she retired, like I'll message her and just say like congratulations or anything like that. Within minutes, she messaged me back. Like that's just the kind of person she is. Like she's always been like the sweetest, nicest person. She's a ferocious beast in the cage, but she's like the nicest person outside of it.
She is for sure.
Now it's funny not to like play the comparison game with Joanna, but I remember when Joanna came into UFC and she was basically 2 fights in her career and she fought for a title. There was not a whole lot of progression for her. Like everyone progresses at a different speed. Some people come in, they have 10 fights before they fight for a title. Some people it's 1 or 2 fights. Obviously, she had a lot of experience in kickboxing and things before she got to the UFC. But your progression, your evolution from being like the top prospect to now fighting for a title has been pretty quick because you got in the tournament this year. Now 3 fights later, you're about to fight Taila Santos. Have you has it been fast? Have you appreciated? I mean, you've been very dominant, but it is it was a fast thing from like being the top prospect in Europe to now fighting for the title, basically a year later.
Yeah, I mean, it has gone fast, but I suppose it's moved fast because I've already had 3 fights this year. If you're in a different promotion, these three fights probably would have happened over 2-3 years. So I suppose that's why it moves fast, because obviously we fight every 2 months. But yeah, I think my progression in general has moved fast. I think with my background in Thai boxing and being a high level striker, I think people think I'm more experienced than I actually am. So like, this tournament, a lot of the girls, they didn't really have, I mean, some of them had less experience than me as in fight records, but a lot of them, like a few of them had more than me. So it's like people kind of put me as this really experienced girl and, like been around ages type thing. But I think it's just because of my performances that people think that. If you look at people like Talia that I'm going to fight now, she's a lot more experienced than me. But I suppose this fight will probably will satisfy everyone, I think.
Yeah. Now you can't predict how one of these seasons are going to play out. Like years ago, when like Anthony Pettis came in, I have a ton of respect for Anthony, but I said, well, there's Gary, like Anthony's going to make it because he's one of the best lightweights. He's been one of the best lightweights in the world for years. He didn't. That's just not how it works. You can Rory McDonald, same kind of thing. Like I said, oh, Rory McDonald's definitely going to make it and be a champion. Didn't happen for him. So were you happy the way things played out? That I know it was kind of like between Taila and Liz because they were the most experienced person. Liz was the Bellator champion. Taila's been a UFC title contender. Were you happy that at least one of them made it to the finals? Because you can't really predict how this thing's going to play out.
Yeah, you can't predict it. And to be honest, I wouldn't say I was happy about it. I was expecting anything. Like you said, you don't know who's going to, like Jenna, she lost and she still placed top four. So it's like, you don't know what's going to happen. So you got to be ready for anything. So I mean, I got a lot of stick for me facing Jenna because Tyler and Liz went together. But that's just the way the tournament plans out. It's not in anyone's hands. So yeah, I mean, it's worked out good because I feel like this is probably one of the best fights that could have happened for the final.
What have you thought of Taila since she's been there? I mean, we know what she did in the UFC. I mean, she took Valentina to a very close decision. I was kind of odd when she left the UFC, I'll be honest, but it kind of works out for you because you get to fight a really good fighter. Liz missing weight was kind of bizarre, but then she goes out and wins. And listen, I don't know how much you pay attention. I know Taila has said a lot of stuff about you and about this fight, but were you happy? And I'm just kind of like curiously, what have you thought of Taila since she's been in the PFL and the couple fights she's had?
Yeah, they've been good. They've shown her experience, for sure. Um, yeah, I mean she's a very good fighter. I respect her a lot. She was a fighter that I watched in the UFC. I know how tough she is. I know she's a dangerous person. I always thought her striking was amazing there. So I know who I'm up against, but at the same time, like I don't feel like I'm not showing anything that she shows. So I feel like it's going to be a very good fight, and I'm excited for it for sure.
How do you like, because it's weird. We live in a sport where promotion matters. Like it or not, promotion matters. When you get attention, you become popular. That's a good thing. And I think you recognize that you become very popular, since you joined the PFL roster. But you also see the other side where it's almost like there's a little bit of jealousy. Like when you become the next big thing, or guys like me say you're the next big thing, and veterans that do you feel that? Like, I don't want to say, I hate to use the word jealousy, but like, do you feel that a little bit? Because it's not like you haven't earned it. You've been undefeated. You've been exciting. Again, there's a reason why you're getting the attention you're getting, but do you feel a little bit of jealousy, a little bit of envy that you are in the position you're in? And again, not like they handed you anything.
Yeah, no, definitely. There is definitely a little bit of jealousy, I think, and a bit of frustration from a few fighters. And I get it. I get it. But like you said, it's a business. Like we have to be able to sell these fights in order to get paid. Like if you want to get paid, do something like make your fights like exciting, or get on social media and make an effort, or like you have to, the people that we're mad at these fighters, certain fighters making money, but if you look at the ones that are making money, it's the personalities in the sport, right? So, or the fighters that are doing something different, so I don't know why anybody's getting frustrated just with me, because honestly, like I'm just kind of getting what I can out of my years in this sport. And I feel like that would be the clever thing to do, Well, I do kind of feel it a little bit for people because I hate my face being everywhere. And if they would put someone else on camera, then fair enough. But if it doesn't work for what they're trying to show, it doesn't work, And another thing is like, I feel really lucky that I speak English, because you need to be able to speak English in this industry. You have to. And I think if you don't, you get left behind a little bit. Like, no one wants to read subtitles. That's another thing. So it's like really, and I hate to say that because I feel like I'm very spoiled the fact that I do speak English and it is an advantage for me, but it's just the way the business goes, and it's not something I've chosen. It's just the way things work. So I kind of it goes over my head when people moan about it, and I just carry on getting what I can out of it.
Yeah, and listen, let's be honest. Sometimes there's no rhyme or reason to it. You could like George St. Pierre was one of the biggest stars of sport. He was like the nicest guy, never said a bad word about anybody. And then of course you get the Conor McGregors who are loud, boisterous. Yeah. So there's no rhyme or reason to it. And I think like your style and your personality, like again, there's a reason. And I think personally, it's the way you fight. Like you go in there and you're you go in there and you're ferocious in the cage. I think that speaks a lot. So again, it's not like anything got handed to you, or they're like, hey, we want you to be a star, so we're going to give you like amateurs to fight. And like, you've earned it. You've earned this spot.
Thank you. I mean, no one would be bothered if I couldn't fight, right? So that always has to come first. As much as the cameras and everything, the attention that I get, like I still understand that my full focus has got to be the fighting, because that's what comes first, 100%.
Yeah. Now, this is going to be, because you've been on a roll right now. I don't really pay a whole lot of attention to the odds, but obviously I think you probably agree. This is, of the people you fought, this is going to be your toughest matchup because the experience that Tyler has. And I know you're going in there thinking, hey, I'm ready for a 5-round war. I'm ready to go in there. And, if I have to win a 48-47 split decision, I'll do it. But when you look at your style and you look at what Taila's done, do you think this can be potentially another kind of highlight reel win for you? Like when you look at what she's done, when you look at what you're doing, do you think there's still a chance you go in there like this isn't going to be a tough fight? This could be another classic Dakota performance.
For sure, yeah, I know what I'm capable of, so definitely that, and that's what I will make happen if the opportunity is there at the time. I will make sure I take the finish 100%. I'm ready for a 5-round fight, like you said. I train for that every time, but I'm not the type of fighter to go in there and be satisfied with a 5-round fight. So expect me to kind of be in fifth gear from the first second.
Yeah. Have you now? I know you probably haven't, but I have to ask the question. Have you made any like tentative plans for the $1 million? Like any purchases you want to make?
I mean, there's a few things that I've kind of wanted to do for the family and things that I've got planned, but I'll definitely go on a shopping spree for sure. It's Christmas, perfect timing. I'm sure my family will get a few nice Christmas presents out of me, but they're worth it. They're worth it for sure.
I know this is probably a question I'll ask you, and hopefully we'll talk after the fight, but everything goes well on November 29th. You win, you get the championship. Do you intend on doing the season again? And the reason I ask that question is because some people say, hey, one and done. It is hard, hard on the body, hard on the mind. Other people, I love it. I want to do it again. I just talked to Brendan Loughnane this morning. He's like, I think I'm finally to my last one. Like, he's like, I think I want to move on. So like, have you enjoyed it enough to say, well, like, I know you're still very young in your career. Like you want to continue to do the seasons or are you of the mindset like, hey, if there's other opportunities, like what they're doing Francis, where Francis is getting these big fights, but he's only doing it like once, maybe twice a year.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, I will do the season again for sure. But I don't know whether that's is it necessary? I'm not this type of person that wants to I'm going to win it again. I'm going to win it third time, fourth time. I mean, I take a lot of I look at Kayla's experience with PFL a lot and, the way she did things and she's given me a lot of advice and stuff. And like she said about fighting Pacheco for third time, did it need to happen? Was it the right thing? So I think it has to be the right thing for me, after I beat Taila Santos, then kind of what is next? It has to make sense, do I need to do that tournament again? Can I get some big fights? I feel like I'm pulling enough eyes to be able to put on, one big fight. I mean, I don't want to fight just once in a year, but, be able to go on a pay-per-view card, like you said, be on the undercard of Ngannou or something like that. So I think PFL are coming up with so many different opportunities at the moment that, we'll be able to put our heads together and think of the right thing when it comes to it. But I'm open for a lot of things, so it's just something we need to discuss.
Yeah. Now, last thing before I get you out of here, Dakota, I was on your Instagram today. I always like to, just see what's going on. And I saw you posted a video maybe it was a couple of days ago with you and your brother doing you were doing some throwing some spinning kicks and Can I ask you, just out of curiosity, when you do, because we see creativity in sparring and creativity in pad work. Have you ever accidentally head kicked him? Like, have you ever accidentally just kicked him in the head, missed? Because I was watching it, I was like, man, I think she's gonna kick him in the head right now.
All the time. This camp, honestly, I owe him seriously. He's had a tough camp. This is the first time that he's been over for 5 weeks, I think it'll be by the time we leave on Sunday. And he's had a bruised lip. He wears a gum shield now when I do pad work. He's here sunbathing, actually. I'll show you.
There he is.
He's living his life there, but we're back to the gym later, and he'll be all padded up again. He's took some serious shots, to be honest, but he doesn't moan, he doesn't complain. He knows that it's got to be done.
Be honest though, you feel a little less guilty because it's your brother, right? Like if it was a coach, you might feel a little guilty, but it's your brother. It's kind of expected,
For
right?
sure. Yeah, I kind of get away with it a little bit, and I'll make sure that I buy him something nice, give him a bit of money when we've got this million, and it'll sweet him over until the next comes.
I love it. Well, Dakota, thank you as always for the time. Obviously, best of luck. Safe travels over to Saudi Arabia. Best of luck in the fight, and can't wait to see you perform again. And let's plan on catching up after another big win, and when you're sitting there with that $1 million check in your hand.
Of course. I will speak to you very soon.